So Scott Banbury, he was an executive in Nike, and he was the CMO for Starbucks. And he said that a brand is a story that is always being told, right? So it's more than just what you think of, logos or brand colors, uniforms, that type of thing. It's more than just that. It's really, and Rio hit the nail on the head, it's about the customer experience, right? It's a philosophy that's carried out at every customer and every employee interaction that builds loyalty ultimately through what they're experiencing with you. So with that being said, what's brand positioning? It basically describes how a brand is different from its competitors or where or how it sits in its customers' minds. So ultimately, your brand positioning is what your customers think of you. It's what they think of your brand when they interact with you, when they think of you. The goal ultimately is we want to be different, we want to stand out. So I'm going to talk a little bit about basically two stories. It's going to be the bulk of my presentation today. I went through a brand refresh project at the Palm, so I'm going to talk to you about how that came about and the steps we took going through that to evolve our positioning. And then obviously Home Clean Heroes, where I am now, it's a residential cleaning company. We'll talk about how that branding came to be and some of the things we put in play that we think makes us very different. So this is some pictures. It took me a while to find old pictures of the Palm because I said we went through a brand refresh. Heading into our 85th anniversary, we decided we needed a new website. And we worked with an agency based out of Boston, and they said, you know what, we can build a great website for you, but we think there's more to it than this. We think that over the course of the 80 plus years you've been in business, you've kind of layered on more corporate-esque things, and it's really kind of time to peel back the layers of the onion and get to the core of what makes the brand and the Palm so special. So these are some old pictures. Like I said, it took me a while to find them. We're also known for serving really big steak and Nova Scotia lobsters. So that's kind of the niche that they're in. It's a fine dining steakhouse. So what's the first step when you're undergoing something big like this? What's the first thing you want to do? We want to find out your customers, and just as importantly, your competitors' customers really think of you. I know Rio is going to spend a lot of time talking about the research aspect of it, so I'm not going to go through the nuances of what you do, but I'm going to talk about kind of what we learned. So we went and did focus groups in 4 different cities, and we broke them up into two groups each. We had our regular customers who knew us really well. We thought they understood what we wanted the brand to be. And we also met with customers from our competitors to find out really what they thought of us. So a lot of things came through from our regulars, everything we wanted to. They had this sense of belonging to the restaurant, right? It's my Palm, that's my GM, that's my server, it's mine. I really feel like I'm a part of this place. And food ultimately was the backdrop to the experience, right? You go to a restaurant, you expect the food to be good. You hire a house cleaning company, you expect your house to be clean. You hire a digital agency, you expect them to get you impressions and clicks and drive your revenue. So food really was the backdrop to the overall experience. Let's talk about the other side of the coin. What did our competitors tell us? They said, it's a great place to celebrate a special occasion. It's great to go with somebody you know, but not necessarily to impress somebody, right? So intentionally, our philosophy was we were a little more casual, even though we were fine dining, white tablecloth. We didn't really have the stuffy waiters, you know. They were more casual, with just a more casual approach to it to make you feel kind of like you're coming into a group of people or a family. That was not resonating with people who were not our core customers, and that kind of took us back a little bit because we thought that was a big piece of differentiation for us. Not always consistent with the elegance or intimacy somebody thinks of a steakhouse. So I guess I should have backed up, so since so many people probably aren't familiar with the Palm. If you're familiar with Ruth Chris is a competitor to the Palm. Salacia here in Virginia Beach, Bird and Baldwin, those would be all competitors to the Palm. So if you've been to Ruth Chris, you know they're carpeted, it's very quiet in there, you know, it's just a little more intimate experience. Palm's not like that. We've got they have tin ceilings, wood floors, it's very loud and boisterous. So it's not always consistent with the elegance that people were expecting from a steakhouse. It felt like a chain, and it wasn't old school, it was dated. that was like, ugh, just God, pour some salt in the wounds. That was not what we wanted to hear. Hence the reason for going through the brand refresh altogether. Both groups didn't realize that the Palm was a family-owned establishment, and that made a big difference in their perception to how they felt about us and how they reacted to us. So a little bit of background, the Palm was founded in 1926 by two Italian immigrants, Pio Bazzi and John Ganzi. They came over from Italy, decided to open an Italian restaurant, which is how we got our roots. And because their Italian accents were so thick, when they went to the licensing office, the person behind the desk heard Palm, not Parma, which is the area from Italy that they were from, and that's what they wanted to name the restaurant. They were too nervous to, say, oh, excuse me, that's not what we meant. That they just left it, and that's how the Palm became the Palm. But anyway, both groups didn't realize that we were family owned, and that made a huge difference. And that was a real eye-opener to us because our company culture, we're so family-driven. The third generation owners, Bruce Sr. and Wally, everybody knows Bruce and Wally. It was just such an eye-opener that just didn't translate to our customers. So we thought, we've got some work to do here. So after we got all the data from our focus groups, we went back and said, all right, now what do we do? And step 2 is you got to let go of your ego. And I'm saying this because I was really one of those people that I thought there were non-negotiables about our brand that we just couldn't let go. But through the course of the agency we worked with really pushing us, we had to let go of some things that we thought were non-negotiables, which of course ended up being the right thing to do. But our mission was to make the Palm more relevant to a newer group of customers, right? People who were growing up, maybe had gone to the Palm with their parents, but we still wanted to be relevant and maintain that loyalty from our core customer base. So in order to do this, we really need to let go of our ego. And as the woman from the agency said, we're not throwing out the baby with the bathwater. We're just kind of cleaning the bathwater a little bit. So step 3, take an inward look at your company culture. So remember what I said on the previous slide, we were family owned and people didn't know that about us. And that was such a huge part of our employee culture and our company culture that we thought, how do we bring that out and make that more relevant to these people we're trying to attract? So we came up with a brand promise. Palm isn't a chain, it's a family. It's a family of restaurants, it's a family of employees. It's a place you go to celebrate, shapes memorable experiences from friends, colleagues, and family members across generations. So at the Palm, we not only had customers that had been coming to us since they were little, and now they were bringing their children and grandchildren with us. We also had servers that had been with us forever. I mean, there were servers in the original Palm in New York, who are, have been there probably 50, 60 years. So we wanted to really kind of bring that to the forefront so people really understood what, as employees, we felt was so special at the Palm. We wanted to make that more relevant to our customers and new customers. So our mantra was treat guests like family. So if you've ever been to a Palm, and Michelle can attest to this, you walk into the Palm, general manager says, oh, Kathy, it's so nice to see you come in, give you a hug and kiss, how your wife, or how's your husband, how your kids, They really get to know their customers. So we want to treat all of our guests like family, not just the core customers. Serve great food. Our current customers thought the food was a backdrop to the experience, but we still want to make sure we're a restaurant, for goodness sakes. We still have to serve great food. And always, always, always exceed guest expectations. So once we kind of put our stake in the ground and said, all right, this is what we're going to, and these 3 statements here still live in all of the marketing materials. And I've been gone from the Palm for a long time, but these 3 statements still live and breathe today in a lot of the marketing materials that you'll see. So with all that, we found the new face of the Palm, the new family face of the Palm. So this is Bruce Jr. He's 4th generation owner. So his great great-grandfather? Right. No, his great-grandfather was one of the original founding owners. And Bruce Jr. was involved in the restaurant, but not really at the forefront. And we decided we really needed to make him the show pony because he's very gregarious. You may have seen him, if anybody watches Bravo TV, he's best friends with Andy Cohen, so you may have seen him or heard him there. Very gregarious, not too bad looking, kind of easy on the eyes, and just a great person. So we went out and we actually branded Bruce Jr. as the new face of the Palm. We did a whole webinar or web video series with him, with Cooking with Bruce. We partnered with a PR agency in New York, and we got him on a lot of different talk shows, that type of thing. We forced him to kind of come out and shake the tree a little bit because he's got a lot of connections in Hollywood, and he never really liked to mix business and pleasure, but we actually said, Bruce, we need you to do this. So once he got comfortable with that, he was really able to kind of get some more celebrities coming back in and elevating the Palm to the place that it was. So there's a lot more I could talk about the Palm. I won't bore you guys all to death about it since nobody really understands what it is. But I do want to show you one of the more visible things that came out of the brand refresh, which was the logo. So I know I said a brand is more than just a logo, but I want to show you some of the changes that we underwent. So this was the existing logo at the time we went through the brand refresh. Very simple, right? Feels a little corporate when you look at the circle around. It almost feels like a big stamp. And the agency said, we need to loosen some of this up a little bit. One of the things they did was they actually changed up our color scheme. So remember when I said let go of your ego? I thought there's no way we can let go of palm green. I mean, it's who we are. And I fought it, but I'm glad at the end that I eventually let go of that because I feel like the brand ended up in a much better place. So the new logo ended up looking like that. So when you look old versus new, it's not incredibly different, right? It still looks the same, still looks familiar. Couple of things they did, we got rid of the big circle, the corporate stamp. We went back to an old version of restaurant, which, believe it or not, I can't remember if it was Pio or John, but that's actually their handwriting. And then they added the EST 1926. So I don't know if we were ahead of the curve of the EST, or just now that they added that to the logo, now I see it everywhere. But for us, that really kind of was underscored the fact that we were the first in this restaurant space. We were the first to really be a fine dining steakhouse. We were the first to be in this. Morton's couldn't compete, Capital Grille couldn't compete, Ruth Chris certainly couldn't compete. So I think this is a good example of a logo refresh gone well. Let me show you something that didn't go so well. Has anybody heard of the Gap logo fiasco? Anybody familiar with this? Anyone? So if you blinked, you would have missed it because this is the logo they rolled out that lasted in market for a total of 10 days. 10 days. So I'm not sure what kind of customer research they did or what, but safe to say that was a bad day for that CMO and a bad day for that agency. All right, I'm running out of time, so I'm going to run through Home Clean Heroes, which is where I am now. So we're a residential cleaning company, right? We launched in 2017. We're based here in Virginia Beach. We just got our first franchisee up on the peninsula, and we're hoping to expand across the country. But you think, why in the world would we need another home cleaning company? You know, what's going to make you different? And that's a great question. So when we first launched, we looked at all of our competitors, and we saw there was a sea of sameness amongst all of them, right? So what's something that stands out to you guys? Mm-hmm. What's something else that stands out? I'm going to say pink. Somebody said blue, which is great, but we use blue in our logo. So the answer is pink, which is hard to see here because really only 2 logos have pink. But when you look at what a lot of these companies do in their marketing, they all use the color pink. So we said, all right, we need to do something completely different. So remember, how we got our name. Yep, so we needed to be differentiated, right? We knew we didn't want to use a name made. We wanted to have some type of emotional reaction when people heard our brand name, not just another cleaning company. We wanted to position ourselves as experts and have a competitive advantage. We needed to be memorable, executable, and believable. So Home Clean Heroes is obviously our name. There is a slight nod to the military community, which was not necessarily intentional. We do have a few people in our executive leadership who served in the military, and we actually have quite a few of our cleaners who are ex-military. And then every home needs a hero is something that I think people can really wrap their arms around and just feel good about that. So our corporate values played a huge role in how we did our marketing. So remember, I said you got to look inward. At Buzz Franchise Brands, we have 5 corporate values, one of them which is have fun. So if you know anything about Buzz Franchise Brands, you know we have happy hour every Friday, we do a company retreat, blah, blah, blah. So we wanted to bring some of that fun into what we did from our branding standpoint. So and it's likewise across all the brands, we bring fun into all of our marketing positioning. So we decided to have some fun. We never say made. Made is actually a 4-letter word in my dictionary, so don't ever say it in front of me, please. We never say made. Pink is definitely not one of our colors. And we wear capes, not aprons, right? So a lot of cleaners, they go into houses, literally, and they have those little funky aprons on. We don't do that intentionally. And this is a mantra we really try and just, it's really taken hold internally and franchisee facing. And it has resonated well with our customers too. But we have a lot of fun with it. We don't call our cleaners maids. We don't call them cleaners. We call them grime fighters. We save your day. Get it, crime fighters, grime fighters? Okay, good. Yeah. So we decided to have a lot of fun with it. Okay, I'm really running out of time. So what's really going to stand you apart? Let's talk about a little bit at the beginning. We talked about what makes a brand. We talked about the brand positioning, and what was the one thing that we had in common? Rio hit it on the head. Experience, right? So what your customers experience when they interact with you, that's what's going to make you stand out, and that's what's going to be differentiating to you. So I have a lot of stories and not a lot of time. Oh, I don't know what happened there. That was the Nordstrom logo and Zappos logo. So let's talk about what Nordstrom and Zappos both do. What are they known for? Shoes. What do they know? Customer service, right? Customer service. They have incredible customer service. Nordstrom is known, they'll take for anything back, whether you bought it at the store or not. Zappos is, Zappos really, they have an incredible company culture with their employees and that resonates with their employees when they interact with customers. Amazon, right? They completely have, I think, almost single-handedly taken down almost every mall in America, right? With their quickness to deliver, easy returns, a lot of variety, usually the best prices, that type of thing. Under Armour, I love the story of Under Armour. This guy started in Maryland, played football for University of Maryland, developed some clothing that was moisture wicking. He thought, how am I ever going to compete with Nike and Adidas? So instead of trying to go after the big retailers, he went after the universities and eventually professional teams for sponsorships. And now Under Armour is just as synonymous with Nike and that type of thing. I'm wrapping up, sorry. Anyway, long story short, we have tried to pull some of those experiences into Home Clean Heroes. We did a lot of that. We pulled a lot of the Disney experiences into what you experience at the Palm. We call it +1 service. And at the end of the day, I just hope you guys can take a look maybe internally at your culture, at some of these +1 experiences, and figure out what can you take back to your company, what can you do that's going to make a difference in the eyes of your customer and the minds of your customers so you can maintain that brand positioning. So thank you. I'm sorry I ran over. Thank you.